Are you ready to turn heads? Luxury isn't just worn, it's experienced. Introducing a Layla Cara style and new up-and-coming designer collection where exclusive shoes and bags for men and women meets your feet. How about you take a handbag and wear it in style, where each piece is personally designed by Layla Carroll herself and handcrafted from the finest material in Italy. Leather, smooth like butter, bold, timeless, distinctly you. Step into true elegance and make your mark with a Layla Cara style where confidence meets craftsmanship. Visit a Layla Cara style and experience the luxury of art that you wear. Welcome back to season 8. Yes, this is a new season, you guys. We are back. So I know I took a hiatus. So every time I start a new season, I'm going to take a break. I have to. Life just keep on lifing. Now, what is this season going to be about? Well, let's talk about it. So first, this season I kept trying to figure out, what do I need to talk about for season 8? And it took me a minute to come up with it, but I remember telling you guys that I was going to share my life experiences with you, and I was going to tell you what I've been through, and then I was going to talk about the things that I'm going through, and then how I overcome everything. And if I'm still alive, then I'm overcoming it. That's how I look at it, right? So instead of being all in my feelings about everything, I'm human, so I do get in my feelings sometimes, but at the same time, I have to learn to snap out of it, because if I don't, then I will stay stuck, and I refuse to stay stuck. That is not the way the world goes. Time keep on ticking, and the world keeps going around and around and around. So if that's going to happen, then I must keep moving forward then. The scripture says to keep pressing towards the mark. Don't grow weary in doing good. Keep pressing towards the mark, you guys, right? Because in due season, I will reap the reward. Now, I know that's somewhere in Galatians. Now, what actual scripture that is, I have to look it up, but I just know the word. Not always good with the scripture numbers and chapters and stuff. Anywho, we're not here for a Bible lesson. We're here to talk about improving your thoughts by freeing yourself. Yes, welcome back. I'm your host, Layla Carroll, and today we're going to talk about some stuff. What kind of stuff, you say? Well, before I tell you what we're going to talk about, I want to tell you what the season is actually going to be about first. Then we'll talk about the topics. So this season 8, I felt the need to talk about peace, how to conquer peace, how to get peace, and how to keep peace. Like I said, it's not a Bible scripture, but I am heavy into the Word of God. I am. So I do use that as my principle of my choices that I make in my life. And I do feel the need a lot of the times to share some scriptures, and I hold myself back due to the fact that some people get offended. But I'm going to tell you now, I have grown. I have grown a lot in these past few years, especially this year, 2025. I am not going to hold back my tongue just because you get offended. You better learn to check your feelings, and that's just the way it is. You don't want to listen? Then turn me off, because this is a Layla Carroll's podcast, not yours. So if you want to listen, you'll get some knowledge that you can use for your everyday struggles and also learn how to keep some peace in your life. So this episode, I'm going to talk about learning how to love a person the right way without losing yourself. But this season 8, I'm going to be talking about keeping your peace, learning how to get some peace, first of all. And we're going to talk about relationships because a lot of the time our peace is destroyed by people and letting people into our space and not learning how to control our space and our environment where they overstep their boundaries. So we're going to talk about boundaries. We're going to talk, and I talked about boundaries before in relationships, especially narcissistic relationships. But I'm going to talk about boundaries dealing with relationships with your parents, your friends, your siblings, co-workers. You know where I'm getting at. Okay? And even with yourself. So we're going to talk about some self-healing, learning who you are. We're going to talk about that too. And your purpose in life. What is your purpose? You might not know what your purpose is. So I wrote this book called Live on Purpose. And you could actually get a copy of that on Amazon. It's called Live on Purpose. Just put my name in, Alayla Carroll, and then Live on Purpose. And I have a guide in there that teaches you what is your purpose in life, how to find your purpose in life. We have a lot of teenagers, and a lot of them go into high school, and they don't know what they want to do when they get to college. Then they get to college, and then they don't know what to major in, and they just major in whatever they think that's going to make the most money, when that ain't even their life purpose. And then when they graduate, they find out that they're miserable and they hate what they're doing. Well, this book that I wrote helps you to figure that out before you even get to college. And it also helped those who are already in college that took the wrong major. You might have to change your major. And then some of you guys might be in college and realize that what you actually is supposed to be doing don't even require college education. I'm not saying you don't need to go to college, but I'm saying that you might find yourself learning about yourself that you might be wasting a lot of time. You can still educate yourself without college, just letting you know. But like I told my son, I don't care. You're going to college. It's paid for already. So for that purpose alone, you're going. I always say that if you don't know what to do in college, and this is one of my rule of thumbs, if you are unsure what to major in college, you'll never go wrong with majoring in business. Major in business because every single thing in the world is run in a business setting. Everything, even churches, is still a business. Hospital, it's a business. School, it's a business. So whatever it is that you are trying to figure out as far as your major and you're so lost and you don't know, major in business. And you can use that degree in anything. Just let you know. That's what I did. I majored in business, also minor in entrepreneurship, and I also have my degree in human resource. So, anywho, let's keep it going. So, today's topic, today's episode, we're going to talk about, are you loving them or trying to fix them? Let's say that again. Are you loving them or trying to fix them? I'm your host, Alayla Carroll, and today we're going to talk about something so many of us struggle with, especially if you have a nurturing heart like I do. The question is, are you loving them or trying to fix them? This episode is for anyone who has ever poured so much into another person that you forgot to leave something for yourself. Yeah, that's seems like what a lot of us do. We haven't been taught how to completely love ourselves enough that we do not deplete ourselves with the love that we have to give to others. We're going to talk about what happens when love turns into emotional rescue and how to bring your heart back home to peace. Yeah, I told you this episode is about peace, baby. This season, we're going to talk about peace in this because I believe a lot of us need it. We have so much that's going on around us every day. You wake up to something new that's happening in the world and it's chaotic. It's hard enough to deal with that on the outside than to have what's going on the inside of your home or your personal life or even with yourself. So I'm trying to shine some light and help you guys to at least manage something that's going on with your world. And I'm talking about the world of you. You need to only focus on what you can control and release everything that you cannot control. If you master that, you will learn to have peace every single day. Even in the midst of chaos, you can still have peace. You want to know how? I'm going through that now, but I will explain along the way. I will explain to you along the way what I mean by having peace in the midst of chaos. You have to create it. That's something that you have to create. No one can't bring that to you. You got to do that yourself. Now, God can give you some peace that surpasses all understanding. You don't understand how it happened. It's just happening. But for the ones that you can understand, that you have to create yourself, that's what I'm talking about now. Because I can't explain the peace that God has. That's completely out of my league, okay? So, I want to open up with a question, well, with a quote, and then I want to tell you some stories, and you know how I do it, so we're going to get into it. All right, now, so let's open up with this quote here. So I'm going to start with a quote from Ropey Kaur. Now, who is Ropey Kaur? This is just a quote. You can look her up. Her quote, what she said is, you can't save people. You can only love them. Did you hear me? You cannot save people. You can only love them. This is something I have to learn. This is something that I'm truly learning right now. Because I am one of the type of people that I have to try to step in and solve a problem. I am a problem solver. I am naturally that way. If there's a problem, my brain immediately start clicking to try to figure out how to solve it. And I'm not talking about a math problem because that is not my forte. It's just not, okay? But I'm talking about a life solution problem. If there's a life solution problem, I am looking for the answer. I'm thinking, okay, what can be done so this can go away? Or so we can get a whole of this situation. What could be done? And I've been doing that for so many years that I didn't even recognize that that's me until about a year ago. And I'm 47 years old. It took me 46 years to figure that out. And then the reason why I figured it out because I started trying to understand why my family come at me the way they do. Because for years, when my mom would get into it with my brother, I was the one she would call to tell every single thing to. And I didn't know why she kept dumping those issues off on me. And then my brother got to my mom, he would call me. And then my brother and my dad, then my dad would call me, my brother would call. They was always calling me. And I'm like, why do y'all dump y'all problems on me? I don't have these issues with neither one of y'all because I stay in my ground to not allow you to get in my world like that. But let me tell you something. When a person is determined, they can get in your world if you are not guarding yourself. And there's been times I had let my guard down. And I found myself in the situation I'm in right now today, which I will share with you, not in this episode, but maybe the next episode. But I'm just letting you know, I realize a lot of the time, the reason why they're coming at me like this is because I am a problem solver. I've always came up with a solution for them. Even if they like the solution or not, the solution just happened to work. Problem is that the minute that that problem has been solved, they go and get into another problem. And then they come back to me again with another problem. And that's where I'm at right now today. I'm tired of solving their problems. They're going to have to figure this out on their own. Not only that they have to figure it out, I have to figure out my own problems. And that's what was going on. Their problems was overshadowing mine. And I don't have a whole lot of problems in my life. That's a good thing. Ooh, that's a blessing. But when I have found myself having a problem, I wasn't able to concentrate on what I needed to do because I was so focusing on their situations and what to do for them. And I'm like, I'm 47 years old. I shouldn't be going through this. I should have already conquered the situation by now and gone on with my life. I'm married. Not only just married, I'm on my third marriage. Then I have to analyze that too. Why am I on my third marriage? And because I've allowed certain people to interfere. So, trust me, you guys, this here, please believe me when I say, this season, season 8, we're going to dive deep. We're going to get deep into the nitty gritty of things on how to start learning how to keep your peace. Peace is crucial, especially in today's time. So, you cannot save people. You can only love them. Keep that in mind. Yeah, that hit hard with me when I read it. I was like, okay, I have to share that. Because for years, I thought to myself, love was saving. No, that's not true. Love is not saving. I also thought that if I love hard enough, or even pray hard enough, because I am a praying woman, or even believe enough for the both of us, for me and them, that person can finally become who I know they could be. Remember, the key word I just used is who I know they can be. They don't know who they can be yet. That's not my problem to solve anymore. I tried to solve that problem. Can't do it no more. It's taken away from me. So let me start with a story. I want to tell you this story. There's someone I once loved, and I ain't gonna say once, I still love this person. I love this person with all my dang on heart. You know, this person in my heart. I love this person. So, and I saw so much potential in this person. And I still do. I still do. You know, this person is charming. Well, was charming. This person, brilliant. At least in my mind, I thought this person was brilliant. I was amazed with their success story. That's how we end up clicking. Well, actually, no, I ain't gonna even say that's how we end up clicking. I ain't gonna lie. It was his body. He had a nice body. But I was a sucker back then, but I'm not a sucker no more. I was 26 at this time. Okay, you guys. Well, you know, and do I still love this person? Yeah, I do. Anybody that I love, I still love. I'm gonna tell you that now. That's not one person that I have been in love with that I don't still love them to this day. So that's just stupid. Because if you don't love the person, you never love them at all. Love doesn't die. All right, let's clear that up. Now, I'm not in love. That ain't happening. I love my husband. In love with him. So, anyways, every time that he fell apart, I told myself, if I can love him through this, he will change. But every time he disappointed me, my heart got a little smaller. I started believing his healing was my responsibility until one day I realized I wasn't loving him. I was managing him. I wasn't in love. I was in rescue mode. And that was when it hit me. Yeah. His mother said something to me that opened up my eyes. Something in the lines of between loving and fixing.
We'll be back after a quick break.
If you haven't already, check out my luxury shoe and bag collection, a Layla Cara style. Each piece is personally designed by me and handcrafted from genuine Italian leather. Whether you're dressing up or keeping it casual, these pieces were made to help you walk with confidence. Because real style starts from how you feel. Go to alaylacarolstyle.com and experience these bold, timeless, and completely all you. Check it out. You might find something you like. Is not peace. So I had to learn, what do I do about the situation? So what his mother told me, I was dating this guy. His name was AJ. I'm not going to say his whole name. I'm just going to say his initials. He knew who he is if he actually hear this podcast one day, but I doubt it. Anyways, his mother, she was staying with us for a little while. And I think I told you this story about the dogs and how he had people in and out of the house, and I would go to work and come home. I had to walk and catch the bus, and we had transportation. He wasn't picking me up on time. It was a lot of stuff that went into this. But when I first met this guy, we was working at the same job at Hewlett Packard Computers, and I had been there a few years already. He had just started. He started coming at me, talking to me, flirting with me, trying to get my attention. And I was just shooing him off like, whatever. Shoo, fly. Don't bother me. And I was doing that for a while. But I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for fitness. And this man, Lord knows, that's what got me trapped. So anyways, I was working one day on one of the computers, the servers. I don't know what I was doing, but I know I was doing something. And he came over and we was in between the units because we were working on the big racks and stuff. And we was in between the units. So nobody could see us, not even the camera. It was a blind spot. So no one could see us. And he came over and he said to me, I will never forget, he said, so, you don't want to talk to me? I was like, look, I'm at work. I ain't got time for this. I don't date people that I work with anymore. He said, anymore. So you dated someone here before? I said, yeah, I did, but it didn't work out. And he was like, I'm different. I'm not that guy. I'm not him. And I was like, so? And he's like, why don't you give me a chance, And I was like, a chance for what? He said, let me date you. Let me take you out. Let me show you a good time. Let me show you how it really goes. And I was like, what really goes? He's like, trust me. And he took my hand. And he rubbed his stomach with my hand. He took my hand in his hand and rubbed down his stomach with his hands. And all I felt was these ripples. And I said, whoa. I know what I felt, but I need to see what I felt. So I said, raise your shirt up. Let me see what you're trying to show me. And he raised his shirt up and he had a six-pack galore. I was like, oh my God. And at that time, I was really a horny toad. Always horny. Yes, I'm not even gonna lie. I ain't sugarcoating nothing. I was always horny. So that just sparked some juices in me and all kinds of stuff. And I was thinking in my mind, like, damn, he cut up like that? I wonder how he really is. Yes, I was thinking those thoughts. But I didn't say anything. I didn't share those thoughts with him or nothing. So anyway, that's how my interest sparked with him. It was on like a sexual nature. That is a problem, you guys. That is a problem. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you lead in with your emotions, you would definitely be led wrong. I was. So anyways, we end up staying together. How did this happen? You go from meeting, going to date, to going to staying with each other. I cut out a whole chunk right there. I'm going to put it like this. Yes, we met. We went on a date. I liked what I was seeing. He did wine and dine me and all that good stuff. He was showing out, okay? And I had, matter of fact, me and my first husband had just separated. ain't gonna say just separated. We had separated around that time because that was after I found out that he had a baby on the way and the baby was born already and all that stuff. So I was already going through my divorce with him, and during this time I'm dating this guy. Divorce papers are signed. I'm already divorced, and I'm getting serious with this guy, and we have our first sexual encounter, and it was amazing. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I don't sugarcoat nothing when it come down to the real truth. It was amazing, and he blew my mind. I never had it like that before. Huh. So what is his story? When I found out more about him when we was in the dating phase, he told me that he had been locked up. He had gotten out of prison, and I asked him what he was locked up for. He said he was selling drugs. He got caught, and he had never had any kids. He didn't have any kids at the time, and he wanted to start over and basically do what most people who get out of prison say they want to do, you know? And I believed him because I was naive, and plus I was going through my own struggle with dealing with my ex-husband having a baby on me. So I wasn't in my full capacity of loving myself properly because I felt like I lost something that should have been mine, which was my husband having a baby. That baby, I felt that should have been my baby, be honest with you. That's how I was feeling. And I was like, I wanted a kid. How can you go out and do this? You know? So I was in a rebound stage. It is what it is. So it was easy for him to get me, and then also to help take my mind off of the real situation that I was going through. So I didn't give myself time to heal. That's a problem number 2. I did not give myself time to heal. So you have to go, excuse me, you have to go through the healing phase. If you don't heal, you're going to make these mistakes. You're going to make crazy mistakes that could have been avoided. And that's what I was doing. End up moving with this. I didn't move in with him. He actually moved in with me. But the thing is that he quit his job at HP. That's when the problem started. That was problem number 1 when it started right there. After us moving in together, this dude quit his job. Now, the reason why he moved in with me because he was living with his cousin. He had got paroled to his cousin. And we both thought it was a good idea for him to move in with me. I had a brand new apartment. My ex-husband never moved in it, so I had no man that shared it with me. And was like, hey, yeah, come on over here. And he did. And in the meantime, he's out there screwing around with other girls. Oh, I had a situation. I don't even want to get into that. If I talk about that story, it's going to be a whole nother podcast. But what I will say is this. We went through some things, and I remember his mother moving in with us because she was going through some stuff with her husband and needed a break from him because she was trying to figure out if she was going to divorce him or go back to him and give it some time and space. During the time when she was living with us, she told me straight up, while he was out doing the things that he do, I was at the house off on one of my off days, and she said, woman to woman, I don't care if that's my son or not. And this is the second time I had one of my men that I was dating, mother, talk to me like this. A woman to woman conversation. She said, I don't care if that's my son. I see the things that my son do when you're not here. He told me not to tell you, but I don't like what I see. And then I see how good you are to my son. You're very freaking good to him. He don't deserve you. And I'm sitting here cooking and she's helping me cook, and we smothering some liver and gravy and onions, making some mashed potatoes and some green beans, some cornbread. I remember the meal because that was the first time that I had started eating liver. I never liked liver before that. So I always remember this moment because when she was cooking the liver, it was smelling good. And I said, I gotta try it. Maybe it tastes better this time. And she was telling me while she was cooking, and I'm helping her prepare and do my side. And she say, baby, you are enabling my son from being a man. I took offense, but I did not get disrespectful to her. Not at all. I took offense and I got very quiet. And back in those years of my life, I didn't speak up. I was very quiet and I would stay quiet. When I was mad, I wouldn't talk. I would stay quiet in my feelings, thinking in my head. And then when you have pushed my button enough, then I explode. But I just stay quiet and I'm thinking like, and the crazy thing about it, I didn't even know what that meant, but I knew it wasn't good to hear. And she said, you are enabling my son from being a man. And I was like, what you mean? You just told me I was good for him. And she said, no, what I'm saying to you is that you let my son do whatever he want to do. You don't get on him about it. You don't fuss with him about it. He just goes and comes whenever he wants. He's in and out of the house whenever he want. He brings people over here. No, he ain't doing it in your face. But when you go to work, he got girls over here. Yeah, he brings my nephews and stuff over here and try to hide and act like the girls are for them, when I know good and well them girls are for my son and them. I'm not stupid. She said, I know what's going on around here. She said, but it's up to you. What you gonna do? And I said, what you mean what I'm doing? What you want me to do? What you think I should do? And she's like, I can't make the decision for you. I said, what would you do? And keep in mind, at this time, I'm 27 now. Now I'm 27 years old. And she was like, you need to, this is what she told me. She said, you need to go out, go have fun, get dressed up, have some friends. I said, this is the second time this was told to me by one of my boyfriend's mother. Go out, have some friends, go and whatever. So, oh, you best believe I took every advice that she had given me because I've been here before. Wasn't my first time, you know? So now I'm gonna strut with stride. I'm gonna stride with strut. I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna strut with stride and I'm gonna stride with strut. I went and found the shortest shorts that I can find. And keep in mind, I have an athletic body. Well, at that time, I did. Legs like bam, bam, pow, you know? Breasts like sitting up, boom, 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 okay? Breasts still sit up like boom, boom, boom. Legs are still pow, pow, pow. But I got a little stomach on me now. I didn't have no stomach back then. It was flat. It was like butter, baby. And I was beautiful. I ain't gonna sit here and act like I wasn't. I was gorgeous. I can show you some pictures. If you go on my website, well, not my website, you go on my Facebook or whatever and go back all the way back into the days, you'll see. You'll see what I'm talking about. Anyway, so I knew I looked good, but I was very reserved about myself when it came down to being a lady. But that lady was going out of the door. I was tired of her. Is this how it's going to be? Then guess what? So I decided to make him jealous, thinking that I was making him jealous. So I took on an offer of another co-worker that I was working with who wanted to take me out. And I did that. Now, why was I messing with co-workers, you might ask? I worked overnight from, 9? Well, actually 10 to 6 a.m. So whenever the middle of the week come, I can't do anything. I have to sleep during the day so I can be up all night. So I had nothing but the weekend to go out on. And everyone's timing was off from my time. If I'm up, everyone's asleep. If I'm asleep, people up. It's one of those things. So the time was backwards. So it was easy to connect with coworkers because we on the same page. And on top of that, HP environment was more like, we call it Club HP, because we wore whatever we wanted to wear. We didn't have uniforms or nothing. We didn't have to dress a certain way. Just make sure you're presentable. So people will come to work with leggings on, mini skirts. I'm telling you, that's why we call it Club HP, man. And the environment was a lot of young people. It was a lot of young people that worked there. So you already get the picture, okay? So yes, I took a person up on his offer to go out. And I was like, hey, I'll meet you. You're not going to meet me because I don't want no problems with the person I'm with. He knew I was involved, but he also knew what was going on because he didn't know the person. He just knew what I told him. So, make a long story short, we ended up going out. And when I came home the next day, because I didn't come home that night, he's up early in the morning looking at me come through the door like, where you been? And I'm like, whatever, dude. You do not get the right to tell me or ask me anything. So I changed. I thought I'd change it. Whenever I got like that, the relationship was over. And that's the reason why I fought so hard with trying to help the person do things and get their life together. And because I knew me, I knew that once I turned the wheel on you, you can't get me back to the person I used to be. And I'm like, you need to get a job, dude. Get a freaking job. You need to do something with yourself. And then his uncle offered him a job. He ended up taking the job with his uncle, working with moving people from one location to another. And it was a lucrative job. At this time, he's bringing home $800 a week. It was good for what we was starting out with. But my mind had already changed. I was already on the verge of saying, I don't think I can continue this. Because now I liked the attention that I was getting from other men. Oh, he couldn't stand it. Oh, he couldn't stand it. Now that started changing. He was like, nah, no. I know I got a bad girl. I'm not finna let this go. But it was too late. So when I started realizing that it was time to switch things, I don't stay in that moment too long. I'm already making preparations and plans on moving on. And that's what I was doing. I was already planning my exit. And my exit was to move the hell out of there. Let him keep the place and move on. I took my name off the lease and I ended up moving with my cousin for about 3 months. And then I moved into my own place and the rest is history from there. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you have to decide, what are you doing? Are you loving the person or are you trying to fix the person? So let's dive a little deeper. Let's talk about the fixer trap, because that is something that I continue to find myself in. Trying to fix people, I was finding myself in a trap. And it's hard to get out of. So if you're listening right now and this feeling resonate with you, it's familiar, it feels familiar to you, then you're not alone. People with big hearts often end up in a relationship where they carry the emotional load for two. I want to break it down. Let's break this down a little bit. So you might say to yourself, let's try to see if this is you. It might not be you, but let's try to say, do you find yourself, you might be trying to fix someone if you feel responsible for their happiness? Do you feel responsible for someone else's happiness? Because if so, then you're definitely trying to fix them. What about this one? You excuse bad behavior because they've been through so much. Yeah, that's a manipulation tactic, by the way. Yeah, everybody's been through a lot, even yourself. You might not have handled it in the way that most others have, but you still been through some things. If you over the age of 30, then baby, you've been through some things, okay? Just letting you know. Now, what about this one? You feel their potential. No, you see their potential, but you're ignoring the pain they're causing you. You are feeling the pressure of them not putting their best foot forward. But instead of recognizing it and actually doing something about that, you just continue to ignore it, knowing that someday they're going to snap out of it. Someday they're going to be better. Someday they're going to do what they're supposed to do. That day ain't coming with you. I'm going to tell you that now. If it does, it's going to come after you leave them, move on with your life, and then decide to go back to them after they got up on their feet and start doing for themselves. That's usually how that goes. Now, what about this one? Does this sound familiar to you? You believe if they love you harder. No, you believe if you love them harder, they'll finally become the person that you see them now. They will finally become the person that you see in them. I don't know what person you seeing in the person that you with, but they don't see that. And that's why they're not that. So it's time for you to see what's really in front of you. Look at the picture that's in front of you that they're actually showing you. That's the channel that they're on. Get on that same channel with them and then deal with that person that way. Not the next channel that haven't even been turned yet. You're moving too fast. Slow down. All right? So this isn't about judgment. It's about awareness. Fixing comes from love, but also from fear. Fear that if you stop trying, you'll lose them. Well, if you're going to lose them, let them go. They wasn't yours anyway. But what you really are losing is yourself, okay? When you're constantly fixing someone, what's going on is that you send a message to that person, even if they are silent and they're not telling you anything. It's still a message to them that says, you're broken, and I'm the one who knows how to make you whole. Most people don't want that type of fixing. They don't want that kind of help. I had to deal with that with my deceased husband. And that was the first time I had someone ever say it to me that way. He told me when we was arguing in the middle of an argument, which that seemed like that's what we did a lot, which it was. So he told me, how dare you try to help me? And I was like, what? I was caught off guard. Like, who don't want help when the help is right there for you? Especially with me being your wife. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm your helpmate. He was like, I don't need your help. I had to learn to step back. Matter of fact, that was when I did step back. When he said that to me, I just stopped trying. And hey, look where they got us. Anyways, that's not partnership. I want you to know that is not partnership. That is parenting in disguise. When you're trying to help someone, you're not. I'm not talking about the kind of help like, can you help me tie my shoe? I can't bend down. My back is hurting. Oh my God, my back is hurting. Can you do that for me? I ain't talking about that kind of help. I'm literally talking about you're trying to fix their problems because you think you can solve it. A person don't have a job, so you want to pay all the bills. And the person, even though they don't have a job, it's not the fact they don't have a job, it's the fact that they've been not trying to find a job. And you know they're not trying to find a job. And they keep coming up with excuses, or they find a job and don't stay. And they come up with excuses. It can be those type of things, what I'm saying. Okay, that's what I'm actually saying anyway. So, I need you to know You have to understand where this is coming from. The truth is that you can't outlove someone's trauma. That's for sure. Put that in your mind. Keep that in your mind. You cannot outlove someone's trauma. If someone is going through something, yes, you can love them, but you cannot outlove it when they're going through. They got to go through. This is a part of life. So let them go through. You also cannot out-heal their unhealed wounds. So they ain't even healed. They're broken. You can't out-heal that by always stepping in to help. You can't do that. Let them figure it out. Yeah, just let them figure it out. But what you can do, you can only hold space for them, not carry their journey. That journey is not yours. It belongs to them. So let them carry the weight of their own journey. Let them have their own story. Not every time they turn around, well, when I was going through this, Suzanne, she was the one who took care of me. And before you know it, they're going to start sounding like you they mama. Dang, did you do anything for yourself, bro? Is there anything you do for yourself? Well, I put it down in the bedroom, I can do that. No, that ain't a man. That's just a male. No, you don't want that. So let them, and I'm talking a lot to the ladies because we are the one who always covering the man a lot now. I'm going to tell you something. I be at the grocery store a lot. I was one time, this is not even that long ago. This is about last week sometime. I was watching this couple. They had 4 children with them. The woman she was on that scooter, like a wheelchair scooter that the store have. And she was riding around in it with the basket in the front. And she was a big, heavy set lady, like super big. So I can understand why she was on the scooter. She can't walk very long without having to catch her breath. And then there was a man that was with her. He was sagging, his pants all down, his drawers showing, butt all out. And I was saying to myself, this is not a good look. I wasn't judging them, but I was thinking about my son. And I was like, man, this is why I'm always on my son about keeping his pants up and not relying on somebody to support him when he gets older. I'm like, this is things I'm going to teach him because I don't want him to have to live this way. This is not designed properly. But I understood it because I was once that girl. Not in a wheelchair, not big and overweight, but I was still her supporting a man. And although I didn't have 4 children, it didn't matter. I was still her. And before she even whipped out what I knew she was going to whip out to pay, it didn't come out the way I was thinking, but it still came out the way I was thinking. You know what I mean? So let me explain to you what I meant. What I mean by that. So I was thinking when it was time for the bill to be settled, after the cashier rung everything up, I said, oh man, she finna pull out that SNAP card, the food stamp card. I said, I already know. She got 4 children. She's in a wheelchair and he's looking all sloppy and stuff. I don't already know. I know this situation so familiar because, I'm like I do. But instead, he opened up his wallet. I was like, oh, so he gonna pay. He didn't. Oh, he didn't. Boy, he proved me wrong in my mind because I didn't say anything. I was just thinking it. And he pulled out the SNAP card. I was like, oh, that didn't go like I planned, like I thought in my mind. That went, but they still pulled out the food stamp card. And I don't have nothing against food stamps because I had food stamps before. I know what that's like. But it's before got my son and before I got the job that I got and have the business and all that. I was just starting out in life and Someone told me, you can get food stamps. And I was like, really? Let me go try. And I tried and I actually got like $100. I was like, hey, that's a lot back in 1999. So anyway, just for me by myself, and I was working at Wendy's, like I'm working at Wendy's. I can get a little extra. So that's what happened with me. So I understood the system. I get it. So I said to myself, wow, why is he holding the food stamp card? That's usually the woman. But he's holding it like it's a credit card or a debit card. Wow. So I just had those thoughts in my mind. Like we need to stop this. That's not a good look. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not a good look. But you got so many people who are prideful and they're happy that way and they don't care. But this is the problem with that. I'm gonna tell you now. The problem is that he was an able body. I saw that in him. Now, I don't know if he mentally got something going on with him because some signs you just can't see. But I was thinking like, man, that situation there. And see, like I said, I'm a fixer. I'm already thinking, how can I help them? Did they even need my help though? No. But my mind is thinking that way. So I have to change that about myself. So that leaves me with the next situation I'm about to talk to you about. The emotional cost of trying to fix people. What is it costing me for trying to fix another person? Let's see. Well, when you try to fix people, you are trading your peace for their progress. And often they didn't even ask for it. See, the couple wasn't asking for no help from me. What was I thinking about that? Why was I thinking about that? But it was in my mind though, because that's me. It had nothing to do with them. That's me. That's my nature. And that's why I'm talking to you guys like this, because I know I ain't the only one out there that's like this, who think this way, who feel this way. So yeah, I'm talking to you guys. So what you want to make sure, what you got to understand, the emotional cost of trying to fix people. You lose sleep, you worry constantly because you want to help, and things start going wrong because of the fact that what you're doing isn't really helping them. That's why you're worrying. You start performing emotional CPR on someone who isn't trying to breathe on their own. Let me say this gently but truthfully. You can't save someone who's committed to their suffering. And loving them doesn't mean losing yourself. Keep that in mind, all right? Let's continue. Let's have a hard reflection moment. I want to reflect on some stuff and I want you to think about your own situations. So I didn't already share it with you, my situation and my thoughts and the things that I'm experiencing, okay? But I want you to reflect on your own. So let's have a reflection moment. Let's take a little bit of time and talk about some things right now in the moment that you're dealing with. And we're going to take a quiet moment right here. Just relax. All right. If you're not driving, I want you to close your eyes. But if you're driving, don't close your eyes. Just keep your eyes on the road, but just pay attention, okay? And don't be all tensed up. Relax a little bit. And I want you to ask yourself these questions. This is a question I want you to ask yourself. I want you to ask yourself, what part of me that love means sacrifice? What is that part of yourself that is telling you that loving someone means to sacrifice yourself for that love? That is a myth. You should never have to sacrifice yourself to love somebody. I'm going to tell you that now, that you shouldn't do. Sometimes it's an inner child that's in us. something that happened in the past when we was a kid. The one who has to earn affection, fix tension, or be the peacekeeper. And that was me. I was the peacekeeper in my family. I didn't care for the chaos and the fighting and the yelling and the screaming. Oh, no, no, no. I shut down. So you want to talk to me? Talk to me without screaming at me. I told you I'm a solution problem solver. Let's not do all this screaming and yelling. We ain't getting nowhere. Have I screamed and yelled before? Yes, I have. But guess what it does to me? It gives me migraines. I'm the one suffering. You all doing whatever you doing after the argument, and I'm lying in bed in a lot of pain. Can't keep the lights on because my head is hurting. Can't listen to sound because my head is hurting. I'm about to throw up because I'm nauseous. So I had to take control of this. We're not going to do this. Not going to do this at all. So what you need to do is that inner child in you needs to be grown. Let's grow this child up. Let's make this child grow up. All right? We're not going to stay 10 years old forever. It's time to grow up. You can still have fun and enjoy life as a kid, like a kid do, amusement parks and all that, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that inner child in you that keeps trying to do the same thing that you was doing at 10, 17, in whatever age that it started at, to try to fix people's problems so you can keep the peace. Or at least think that you're keeping the peace, but you're really not. That child learned, if I keep everyone happy, I'll finally be safe. That's where the problem is at. You don't feel safe. And that's why you feel the need to fix the person that you're with. And if you're not feeling safe, then you're not with the right person. Because you're not a child anymore. You don't have to fix to be loved. You don't have to prove your worth through rescue. You don't have to do that. So what I want you to do, let's release this situation, all right? Let's release. It's time to let go. And if you are ready to release, let's do this right here. So what you're going to do, you're going to take a deep breath in your nose. Hold for 4 seconds. And then you're going to release through your mouth. You're going to let go by releasing everything through your mouth. Let it out, okay? You should be relaxed on that one. Now, I want to share some questions. Remember when I asked you guys if y'all have anything you want to ask me? Then go to my email, go to my website, send me a message and everything, where I have read you guys' messages. Now, I haven't been able to get back to everyone because there was one particular one I really want to get back with. And you know who you are. You was asking to collaborate with me to do a podcast with you. And I know you were talking about what was it? The red light therapy. And I haven't been able to get back with you, but if you are listening, I want to tell you, I don't really do much with red light therapy because my husband does that with another partner, and I didn't want any conflict of interest and stepping on his toes and that. So I didn't reach back out because I was trying to figure out what to say to you. And then time went by and I forgot. And I'm sorry, and I deeply apologize for not reaching back out to you on that. But I do want to let you know right now, if you're listening, that my husband, he had partnered up with someone, and he's into basketball and coaching and therapy and the Bimini and oxygen bubbles, and that's his thing. Now, if you want to, you can send me another email and ask to collab with him, and I would definitely set that up with y'all too, and y'all can talk about that together. That's not my expertise or my forte, but hey, just letting you know. So I do want to answer some questions that I have gotten from a few of you guys, a few of you listeners out there. Thank you for listening. And I do enjoy being able to collab with you guys, talk with you guys, and even answer some of your questions. So I got a few questions recently from listeners that I think is fitting for this conversation. Matter of fact, this is part of the reason why I made this topic, because I felt like this would be something to help you guys with. So I'm going to do 3 questions, and I'm going to answer the 3, and then we're going to move on. So question number 1, I had a listener ask me, Layla, how do I know when it's time to stop helping someone I love? So let me answer that question for you. So if you're listening and you know who you are, because you're the one who asked this question, so I'm sorry that it took me so long to get back with you. And not just that, like I said, life be lifing, but I'm going to go ahead and answer the question for you now. I will tell you this. When your peace disappears, that is when you feel like you are walking on eggshells. And if you're feeling like that, you feel like you gotta beg for their care, for them to care for you, basically, it's not natural. Your relationship doesn't feel natural, it feels forced. Then that is when it's time to step back. Because love without boundaries become a burden. And I talked about boundaries before in season 6. Go to season 6, go where it talks about boundaries, the topics where it talks about boundaries, listen to those episodes and learn to have some boundaries in your helping. Because if not, you're going to always be needed to help, and you're going to constantly have to always be available for them, and you will not have time to be available for yourself. So you got to set some boundaries, okay? The signs are there. Keep yourself paying attention to the signs. They're there. So let's go on question number 2. So question number 2 is, but what if they really are trying? Shouldn't I stay and support them? Let's answer that question. Support. Yes, you should definitely support. That's for sure. Because without their support, without your support, it's pretty much the relationship is dead. So you definitely want to support them, but not at the expense of yourself. Never do that. Support means I'm here for you. I'm cheering you on. I'm here to be your cheerleader. It's just like cheerleaders on the side of the football field cheering for the players. Are they actually in the game trying to win for them? No. They're cheering them on to give them that extra motivation to keep going. That's what you do. Be their cheerleader. Don't actually get in there and do it for them. So fixing, it actually means that you're here to carry them. You don't want to carry them. You ain't out there in the game carrying the ball to get them to the touchdown. That ain't how that goes. All right? So only one of those are going to sustain you. It's not going to be the fixing. It will be the support. I want to share this small little story with you before I move on to the next question. I had a dream about my mother some years back, about 7 years ago. And I'm a dreamer. And a lot of times when I dream, there's messages in those dreams. And in the dream, me and my mom was at the airport. And at this time, my son was in the foster care. and I was trying to get him out. Now, at this time, my son wasn't my son, he was my nephew. And my brother and his wife was going through their problems, and my son was in foster care, and I was trying to get him out. My mother and I was the only one who was actually trying to fight to get him out, but my mother couldn't do so much because of the fact that she had a criminal record. Me, I have no record. So it was easy for me to get him and not my mom. So in the dream, the it was who was a social worker had came up to me and my mom at the airport. Why the airport? Maybe because I was working at the time at the airport. And my mom was and I was going on a vacation, and that's what we used to do. We don't do it no more. But we was going on a vacation, and the social worker came up to me and was trying to tell me that they wasn't going to give my nephew to me and all this extra stuff. And I got real mad. And I was trying to figure out what to do next because I was fighting for him. And my mom and I walked out of the airport. We didn't even go on the trip. We walked out of the airport, and it was daylight when we was in the airport. The minute we walked out of the airport, it got real dark. It got nighttime. It's like it switched from day to night real fast. And my mom just sat on the ground. And I was trying to figure out why she wouldn't get up. And I was like, Mom, get up. You can't stay on the ground for long. You can't stay here like that. So I reached my hand to pull her up. But I noticed that every time I would pull, she was also pulling me back. She was pulling me down. And I kept trying to pull her up, and she was using all her body weight, and I could not pull her up off the ground. And she kept pulling me down to the ground. And then I remember saying to her, Mama, you got to stop pulling me down when I'm trying to pull you up. I need you to get on your feet. I cannot carry you by myself. I'm going to need you to help yourself so I can help you. And that's when I realized, I snapped out of it. I realized what was happening. Well, I told my mom the dream. She took the dream another way and started trying to manipulate the dream to fit her narrative. I already knew the message of the dream because, like I told you, I'm a dreamer. I'm not only a dreamer, I'm also an interpreter. I can interpret dreams. The Holy Spirit gave me that gift. So I'm like David and Joseph. I'm a lot like Joseph. If you know the Bible about Joseph, who had a dream that he was going to rule over his brothers, and he became king. Yeah, I'm like that. I can interpret your dream. And I had already interpreted that dream. The Holy Spirit had already gave me the interpretation of the dream. But when she started telling me about what she felt the dream meant, I immediately knew she was manipulating me. Immediately. And I said, oh man, I probably shouldn't even tell her that dream because now she's mad at me. And she did. She got mad at me. Almost like the same thing with Joseph's brother got mad at him when he said he was going to rule over them. And I said, how she going to get mad at me for telling her about a dream that God gave me about her? But what it was God was telling me that the time has come that I will no longer have the capacity to sustain her anymore and pull her up and lift her up when she actually like it at the bottom. She likes being in that chaos. She loved being down there because if she didn't, she would stay on her feet when I help her get on her feet. But instead, she falls back down and need help again. So guess what? That has came to pass. That is what's happening right now at this moment, right now between me and my mother. And like I said, I will talk about it in the next episode. So I just want you to know, pay attention, be supportive, be their cheerleader. Do not carry them. All right. So question number 3, how do I stop attracting people who needs fixing? That is a good question. Oh, that's a good question. Well, let's see. First off, you need to stop being available for that kind of love. Make yourself unavailable to those types of people. What that means is that this can be a using type of relationship. So you have to stop being available for that person. You can recognize when that person is that kind of person because you dealt with it already. So compare what you've been through and what you're about to start going through, and then cut it off. The best thing to do, don't answer phone calls. Give it about 2 weeks before you return their phone calls, because usually in the 2 week time, they done already figured out what to do about their problem. That's a good rule to go by. It's a rule of thumb that you can use. And when they say, hey man, I called you 2 weeks ago, why are you just not calling me back? Oh man, I meant to call you when you called me, but life just started lifing, and I got busy and had some stuff of my own I had to deal with. Now they start saying, well damn, I can't use them. All right then. And then they will eventually stop calling you and stop using you, because once you and another thing too, you need to start healing, because there's something in you that's broken that you need to always try to fix somebody. Instead of you trying to fix them, fix yourself. This is what it is. These using types of relationships usually stem from someone who's already broken. Instead of them trying to fix themselves, they're usually trying to fix someone else, thinking that that's going to solve your problem. It's not going to solve your problem. Now, it will never solve your problem, because your problem is still there. It hasn't been fixed yet. So once you start healing your own needs to rescue somebody, those who want to be saved will stop finding you. They won't need you no more. They won't be trying to look for you, because your energy is what keeps pulling them towards you. When you raise yourself and you pour yourself up from this situation that you're in, your energy changes, and so do your connection. All right? So I hope I answered you guys' question, and I want to continue to keep moving on. So what I want to do is give you guys some affirmation as well as some guided reflection. Hopefully this will kind of help you heal, because it's time to start healing. It's time. I don't always just give you a situation to think about. I also give you some solution. I told you I'm a problem solver. That part of me is never going to change it, because I actually like that part of me. I like helping to solve some problems, but in a healthy way. That's what I had to learn to do. I had to learn how to know when to help and know when to step back. That was what God was trying to tell me in my dream with my mother. You can't do everything for her. There's going to come a time when she's going to have to learn to get on her own 2 feet. And I'm going to make it to where you can't pull her up. So that's why every time I was reaching my hand out and trying to pull her up, she kept pulling me down. And she was winning, because I was almost falling back on the ground with her. And at one time in the dream, I did fall on the ground with her, and I got myself back up and still tried to help her. And same result. So I'm hoping my dream helps somebody, because it is what it is. So let's go ahead and do some affirmation. And also, I've wrote a book on affirmation for 365 days. It's called 365 Days of Mindfulness, your daily affirmation guide. You can also get a copy on Amazon. And every single day of the year, there's an affirmation that you can speak over yourself. But it ain't about just speaking these words. It's about believing what you say. Words are energy and vibration. Everything around us is on a frequency of vibration. And if you are speaking these words, please believe me, they're vibrating through the atmosphere, and they're forming into matter, and they're coming back to you. All right? So let's make sure you really believe what you're speaking. So we're going to seal this episode with some affirmation. You can say these out loud, or you can just whisper to yourself, because you might be around some people you don't want them to hear everything you say. Even a whisper is still on vibration. Okay? So say this with me. I am no one savior. I'll repeat it for you. I am no one's savior. You're not their savior, okay? Only Jesus can do that. Yeshua. That's the only one who can save. And that is not your job. So think of those things. Every time someone comes to you for some help, some rescue, and you know that you are not capable of doing it, or it's going to deplete you if you did, just, hey, I'm sorry I'm not able to do this for you, but I'm cheering you on. Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so the next affirmation, repeat these words. I can love deeply without losing myself. See, you can actually save some for you. The next affirmation, repeat this. My peace is my priority. Yes. If you don't prioritize peace, your peace, you will lose it and you will be living in chaos. So please prioritize your peace over everything that's going on around you. Find some me time. Find you some me time. Find time for yourself and yourself only. If you got children, don't feel guilty because you need that me time. If you just had a baby, still, you're going to need me time. Even if it's just to soak yourself in a bathtub for about an hour with some champagne, wine. Well, if you just had a baby and you breastfeeding, you can't do that. So get you some grape juice. And just relax. Have some music playing. Not no chaotic music that makes you want to get up and get crunk in the club. You might want to do that. Hey, shoot, wait a minute now. You might want to get crunk in the club. What? Bring back them old days. Let me stop. Anyway, if it makes you happy and it gives you joy, do that. As long as it's not hurting anybody, okay? So, repeat these words after me. I release the need to fix others. Please release that need. That is how I was set free. I had to release the need to fix people. Yes, I'm a problem solver, but I ain't here to solve your problem. I'm here to solve my own, baby. Okay? I'm not being selfish. I just learned that just some things I just can't do. And especially when you're grown and you're able-bodied and you're clothed in your right mind, what's wrong with you learning how to solve your own problem? Sometimes the answer to your problem, you just don't want the answer. You don't like the answer. And that's usually if you don't have a job, go out and get a job. Or create your own job. Because these days, you can actually create your own job. You can drive Ubers. If you don't have a car, then, hey, you can do something else. There's other things you can do to make money. There's a lot of things on the internet that you can do, too, to make money. The legal way. All right? And then this is the last quote I want you to say out loud. Affirmation, not quote. The last affirmation I want you to say out loud. I am free to love in balance, not burdened. I am free to love in balance, not burdened. Don't let anybody burden you. All right? So I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to take in for 4 seconds. Inhale through your through your nose. Hold it. And then you're going to exhale slowly. And when you're exhaling, I want you to release everything that isn't yours to carry. And I want you to remember this for the rest of your life. You are enough as you are right now, this very day. You are enough. All right? So I want to thank everybody for listening. If this episode resonated with you in any kind of way, please share it with anyone who you feel that needs to hear this and help them to stop trying to fix others, okay? So go ahead and share this episode and save it, download it. You might need to hear it again because the first time you hear it is just something that went through your mind. The second time you hear it, it resonate with your spirit. The third time you hear it, you put it into action. All right, so go ahead and listen to this again. I know it's a little long-winded, but it's been a long time since I did a podcast for you guys, so I figured I would make it extra juicy for you guys. And also, if you want to join my programs, if you need a little extra than just hearing some words, you want to put in some action. I told you the third time you hear, you're going to want to put this into action. Go ahead and sign up for Breaking the Spell. It's my online program that I have on my website, imagingcoaching.com. Go there, go where it says plans, and then you'll see the programs. Breaking the Spell, whatever one that resonates, about 5 or 6 of them on there. You can find whatever that actually work for you. Let's say you in the business world and you need some Zen for business. I got that on there too to help you learn how to relax when you're at work or get yourself centered while you're at work so you can get some work done, more productive. I got a lot of things on there, so go check it out, okay? And also, if you want to join the community, that's groups that I have on there. You can go ahead and join the private groups that I have. But in the meantime, I want you to keep loving yourself. Love yourself enough that you can lead your own peace. All right? So thank you for listening to Improving Your Thoughts by Freeing Yourself. Until next time, keep choosing freedom. One thought at a time. Signing out, Layla. Are you feeling overwhelmed and exhausted by stress? Introducing Stress Management with Imaging Coaching, your ticket to a calmer, more balanced life. In this journey you will be taking with us here at Imaging Coaching, we'll equip you with powerful techniques and tools you can use to conquer stress, control, and transform your life. From deep breathing exercises to mindfulness practices, you'll discover the tools to relax your mind and body. Come join us on this transformative path and unlock a world of inner peace and resilience. Don't let stress hold you back any longer. Take charge of your well-being today with Imaging Coaching, your stress management team. Discover clarity. Defeat stress through Imaging Coaching at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com.